We have a world in which authoritarianism exists and in which capitalism exists. The latter works. Do you know there's an economic boom going on in this country right now? North Dakota and Texas. You know what's causing it? Fracking. Finding oil a new way. Obama can't stop it. He wants to, but he can't stop it. It is a living, breathing, textbook example of how this entire country's economy can be revived. With jobs created out the wazoo. The states are the laboratories that counter what is happening in Washington under the leadership of Obama and the Democrats. Capitalism works. It created the world's lone greatest superpower in human history. Authoritarianism does not work. It never has. It doesn't and hasn't worked in Cuba, in China, the old Soviet Union, anywhere, everywhere it's been tried. Failed dismally. There is no group of people that can make it fair. There's no group of people that can make it work. Today's modern Democrats are no better than any of the other failures who have tried socialism or authoritarianism in the past. We live in a free country, and yet so many people insist on being treated as if we don't. So many people would rather be dependent. Demanding the government force people to pay more. Force people. Be it wages for a hamburger. It's not about growth and opportunity. It's about the iron fist that some people would rather have the government used at their disposal on other people. Not good. I know that the vast majority of you in this audience, because of your long-term listenership, understand this. But again, I ask your indulgence because, as you know, there are new people tuning in each day, many of them hearing some of this for the first time. So right now, the left is back on its minimum wage kick. But the minimum wage, one of the points I was trying to make with our first caller, Sean, he said $7.25 not fair. Needs to be at least 15. I said, okay, why not 20? Yeah, that's cool. And I got him all the way up to $50 an hour, at which point, maybe it's too much. I said, why? No matter who supports a minimum wage increase, try this with them. You can always reach a level where even they will say it's too much. And then you own them. When, in Sean's case, he said $50. Well, I don't know. Why is 50 too much? And that they know they've been caught, and they don't really want to answer the question at that point. But the reason that he thought $50 was too much is because the work isn't worth that. And then you realize that the whole movement isn't about the value of work. It's about some emotional, feel-good factor that has nothing to do with market economics. There ought not be a minimum wage. The minimum wage kills jobs, and every time you say that to people that don't understand it, they think that you are a hateful person that doesn't like the poor, because they think the minimum wage is an entitlement program. They think the minimum wage is a compassion program, and it's not. The minimum wage has nothing to do with economics. The minimum wage is the Democrat Party's attempt, and anybody else that signs on to it, to make people think they care about them. But it's entirely arbitrary. $7.25 an hour for what? There are some jobs that aren't worth that. The White House interns don't make anything. Did you know Obama doesn't pay his interns anything? Why aren't people protesting that? And there are a lot of them. There are a lot of White House interns, and they're told, you do it for the experience. You do it because of what you're going to learn. You do it because of the people you're going to meet. But somehow when it comes to McDonald's, there's no such thing as internships. And there's no such, $7.25 is too low. But $50 is too much, well then you admit that any figure is arbitrary and unrelated to market economics. Labor, the price or cost of labor, is based on what somebody will work for. Sad to say, have you ever heard the term, what somebody is worth? You need to be paid what you're worth. Well, how's that determined? Your worth is what somebody else agrees to pay you. And if you want to get your wealth or your worth up, you better make yourself valuable to somebody. Real world example. When I was 28, I thought that I had failed at radio as a DJ. So by hook and crook, I got a job in sales, ticket sales at the Kansas City Royals. And it paid $12,000 a year. At age 28, that's 1979. $12,000 a year. That wasn't very fair. I mean, players are making millions. The management there had company cars. I couldn't afford my house payment and food in the same 2-week period. I had no business owning a house, but that's another story. And it wasn't even really a house, it was a shack. But nevertheless, I had no business owning that. And if they would have just paid me $5,000 or $17,000, it would have made such a difference. But they didn't. And you know why? Because there were people who would have done what I was doing for $10,000 a year, because it's a groupie job. Professional sports teams, you wouldn't believe the people. Team doctors. Well, not team doctor, but doctors will offer to do the job for nothing. And so the job was worth to the people paying me $12,000. Well, I might have been mad at them, but it was business. It's just the way it is. And there was no requirement that they be fair or nice based on my circumstances. Now, if I ended up there doing work that was really valuable to them, that $12,000 would have gotten higher. That's how it works. And you're always going to everybody's going to run into unfair bosses and mean, you can't avoid these things. And there's no politician and there's no political party that can eliminate any of that. And there's no government that can make it fair. Life is life. And we all have self-determination. And Martin Luther King understood it. Whatever you're doing, whatever it is, if you try to be better at it than anybody else, you're not going to be doing that long. You're going to move up. Now there's, young people expect instantaneous success because they see it. $12,000 in 1979 is equivalent to $38,000 today. The old inflation calculator. $12,000, it wasn't much, but that's what it was worth. It was a new job. They'd never had the job before. They didn't know and there was no such thing as commissions selling tickets. I asked them about it. They said, well, if we give you a commission, then don't we have to give the player who hits a home run the night before a commission on additional tickets sold the next night if we win the game? How are we going to do this commission business? No, here's what it is. It's $12,000, take it or leave it. No commissions. Okay, I ended up $1,000 raise every year. So when I left, I was making 17. And it's just the way it is. And I was mad about it, and I wasn't happy about it, and that's why I eventually left. I don't like using myself because it's the old fuddy-duddy thing that people can react to, but economics, it's one of the most intriguing subjects because when it is properly explained to you, it is just common sense simple. But it's complicated at the same time. The common sense simplicity doesn't occur till somebody explains it to you. Economics, free market economics, has to be explained. These people protesting for doubling the minimum wage at McDonald's, like I said, do you think they walk in there and ask for the price of their Big Mac to be doubled so that the employees can get a higher raise? No. They just think jobs are just another government thing handing out benefits. The purpose of a business is to provide jobs in the community and health care. And it isn't. And so Americans today are down in the dumps, thinking that the best days are behind us, thinking the American dream is over. And if there's no American dream, there's no America. That's a uniquely American thing, the American dream. We never heard about the Soviet Union dream. And we don't hear about the Chi-Com dream, and we don't hear about the Cuban dream, but there's always been an American dream. And if there is no American dream, there isn't any America. But there's still an America, and there's still an American dream. A lot of people are out there doing it. But a lot of people have been talked out of trying. A lot of people have been depressed, made to believe that it's not possible. And so they've lost faith, and they're depressed, and they're ticked off, and all of it's understandable. But they need not have lost faith in the country. The country's still there. Country's still capable. Country is still free. Country's still filled with opportunity, but we're led by a bunch of people who don't believe that, who have never believed that this country was just and moral. They have never believed that this country was legitimate. It was an accident. It was a coincidence. And only now are people finding out what the real America is like. And only now are Americans finding out what it's really like for everybody else in the world. The American dream, American greatness, American prosperity, that only happened, in Obama's view, because we stole and pilfered from the other peoples and nations of the world. We didn't really build anything here. We stole it after going to war and defeating people. It's a perverted, corrupt, near criminal opinion that they have. And it's a disservice to every American that they attempt to govern and lead with the set of beliefs that they hold. And the sooner these policies are erased, the sooner these policies are replaced, the better off everybody is going to be.